So I bought this Mars base set almost entirely because of the Ecodome. Plants growing under glass in a space colony is one of my favorite images ever. It shows that we're not just sending out apes in cans, but really helping Earth's biosphere expand into the final frontier. Potentially as a first baby step toward creating whole new biospheres on worlds like Mars. But right off the bat, there were a few things about the set that bothered me. I decided to leave a few excessively cutesy things out. I like the idea of bringing a cat to space, but I decided putting it in a spacesuit and giving it this little dome on top of the base with a tiny control panel was a little too much. So I donated both cat and dome to our resident 7-year-old. I also didn't put the cute little digital eyes on the helicopter drone, and I buried the cute alien in a storage bin. A much bigger issue for me was air containment. I get that it's easier to play with the set if you're just pretending this back area is indoors, but I wanted to build something more realistic. Fortunately, I had this moon base with a nice big enclosed space under a dome, so I took the front half and revised it so it would fit in neatly behind the front of the Mars base, and stuck the image analysis station inside the dome, along with two of the three spacesuits, and one of the trees from the original moon base, which would be a big help with replenishing the oxygen supply. The third spacesuit is now stored on a hook in the airlock. The rest of the equipment rack is now on wheels, so you can cart it up to interesting rocks and drill into them. The bathroom/solar power module slots into my dome like this. I'll explain how I sealed this opening later. And I stuck the radio dish on top of the dome, after revising it so it would actually focus radio waves onto the antenna in the middle. I don't have anything against putting the dish on a tower, but the original design was really flimsy. This rotating joint kept letting the tower fall over, and also I had another idea for how to use that orange truss piece. You see, the final module, the bedroom/microbiology lab, is actually supposed to come off this rocket, with the helicopter drone and rover stored inside, and then get mated to another airlock, but the set doesn't come with any realistic way for the astronauts to actually accomplish that. So I built this crane and positioned it so it could also have been used in the construction of the rest of the base. You can hook it to this cockpit module, then put it down here, allowing the astronauts to easily disembark. Then pick up the bedroom/biology lab module and put it next to the base. Then we reattach the windshield to the cockpit, and the crane picks it up and reattaches it to the engines, forming a smaller spaceship. Now it's time to unpack the drone, which flies over to its little perch, and then the rover. We lift it out, put it down over here, and flip it upright. Incidentally, the astronauts can now actually drive the rover since I added a high-tech steering wheel. Before attaching this module to the base, we need to seal it up and put up this door to keep the bathroom module sealed while we detach this cover and attach it to the far end of the new module. Then slide it in to connect up with the rest of the base. Next, we drive up to this little chemical plant, which makes rocket fuel out of Martian air and water, and send a command to this fuel hose to connect itself to the ship. The fuel plant, like the crane, is powered by an electric line from the solar panel on top of the bathroom module, which is really nowhere near big enough to supply all the base's electrical needs. But I'm just going to pretend otherwise. Incidentally, the landing pad itself wasn't part of the original set either. I've had it since childhood. Now we come to my next major issue. The base is missing several basic necessities, including a shower, which made most sense to add in the airlock. After all, tracking Mars dust into the base will cause all kinds of problems. You really don't want that stuff in your lungs or clogging the air filters, so you really have to wash it off your spacesuit before coming inside from an EVA. Since it's also the only place in the base where you can wash your body, we'll just have to pretend these glass doors have a high-tech feature where they can turn opaque for privacy. There was also no place to sit down and eat together in the original base, so I put in an extra seat in the new dome and a swing-down table, where two of the astronauts can have a nice, civilized sit-down meal, with plates that go in this high-tech dishwasher when you're done. Then you can swing the table up out of the way when you want a clear path to the bathroom. Then the next major problem is you can't wash your hands after using the toilet. My first attempt at adding a sink was this awkward add-on to the bathroom module that you'd have to disconnect in order to play with it, which just seemed too lame. So I replaced it with a simple removable panel and made the reluctant decision to take out one of the two beds, the one in the wall screen / coffee break dome, and put the sink in there. It means the 3 base occupants will have to sleep in shifts with 2 people awake at all times, and all 3 when you want to use the microscope. But at least they can frickin' wash their hands. They can also rotate the faucet out of the way when they want a full view of the wall screen. Now back to the Ecodome, where we have this pumpkin growing on this shelf and these carrots growing out of the floor. I decided this must be some kind of aeroponics. This garden hose I put in would actually spray a kind of nutrient mist for the plants to absorb, so they can grow healthy and strong, get cooked and eaten, go through the astronauts' bodies, and then their waste will be processed back into nutrients to spray on the plants so they can grow again, thus completing the circle of life in this tiny little earthly ecosystem planted on another world. Obligatory political disclaimer. Yes, Elon Musk shares my vision of putting a base with ecodomes on Mars, and yes, his space company is the one most likely to actually make it happen. However, he and I definitely don't share a political alignment, and I do not in any way endorse his insane decision to use the massive profits from his electric car and solar panel company to support the agenda of a climate-denying would-be dictator who wants to stop all support for electric cars and renewable energy and drill for more oil.